Welcome to the Millionaire Journey Podcast. The goal of this podcast is to guide and empower you on your journey towards financial independence. Here's your host, Len Yaney.
Today, my guest is John Evans with Six Rock Properties. Welcome, John.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on. I've seen you actually all over the mobile home groups that I'm in, and excited to have you on.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Cool. So if you could, just tell us a little bit about your story, how you got to where you're at today.
It's kind of tricky. I really don't even know myself, but I had the idea of, just owning real estate or rental properties for a long time, and I just had some family members that had, like single family homes, and they did okay with them, but it's not like they were, just super wealthy. But I just knew that, you were adding, wealth and cash flow and all that stuff. But so of all places, I was looking on Craigslist and I found a mobile home park for sale, so I just asked the people around me, what they thought. Of course, everybody said no. You don't want to buy a trailer park, the dealing with people and they're going to be calling you all night and whatever, so I didn't. I just passed and kind of put it behind me, and later on, I kept thinking about it, and of all places, I'm driving to work and on the side of the road, there's a trailer park and there's a for sale sign in the yard, So I called the number and it was listed with a local realtor. And so I just called up and, found some details. And this time I didn't ask anybody's opinion. I just said, I just want to find out for myself, I'm willing to risk this little bit of money I have just to find out if this is going to work, So the owner ended up financing the property to me, and it's like right across the street from where I worked at. So, I could go over there even during lunch. I went over there a couple times on my lunch break just to like stick a AC window unit in somebody's window or whatever, And so again, I'm just kind of driving, around town or different towns, and I see the same thing. I see another for sale sign in a mobile home park, and this time it's kind of like a bandit sign, and this guy's used a marker and just kind of wrote down his information, and the same thing. He ended up financing the community to me.
Wow, it's always crazy when you see those bandit signs. You're like, that's got to be a scam.
Yeah,
some type.
Yeah. So I pulled into there and I actually knocked on somebody's door, and they told me where the owner lived. So I just drove down to his house and knocked on his door and we talked, and he didn't really want to finance it at first, but I went to every bank in town.
No,
and nobody wanted to do it,
Yeah.
And so I guess he just trusted me. And also my neighbor across the street, they knew each other. So that kind of helped, So it was a small town where people kind of know each other. So it just
Is this in Alabama?
This was in Louisiana about 10 years ago. Back when I lived in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And so I sold those two communities for profit. So I had a little bit of money in the bank, and so I just tried to figure out what to do next. And I don't know why, but I just kind of thought I should be doing something else. And so several years went by before I really did anything else. I saved some money. I saved the money, kept working, just tried to figure out what else to do. And that's when I just came across mobile home park stuff on the internet, and I just said, well, maybe I already had success doing it. Why not just try and do it again? I don't know why I didn't have that thought, but so that's when I went to Seco and just started networking and just talking to brokers and other people. And that kind of, when I found, all the right key people, that's when it really started to kind of expand, and so that's kind of where I'm at now. I just
love that.
Yeah, found my current partner, and which he was in North Carolina, and at that time, I think that was like 2019 or 2020, and he was probably close to 1,000 lots at that time. And so basically, he just said, if you can find something in my buy box, then I'll partner with you. So
what did that partnership look like? Like the beginning of the partnership?
basically, I mean, if I would find a deal, and which I had a little bit of money, so we basically just split everything down the middle.
Wow.
I mean, which there was other people that would, LPs that bring money, and
Yeah.
which we have uh, two other partners locally. I'd like to mention them, Chris and Bridget, which they live in the area that those communities are located. And so they were like literally the boots on the ground team, going from park to park. So that helped out huge. Just having somebody there, since I didn't live there.
So were you just cold calling, or how did you find the
Yeah, it was
person?
it was just all direct to seller cold calls, and
Wow.
we ended up getting about 200 lots in Winston-Salem, all in a small area, small circle.
Yeah.
Each property is like 10 to 15 minutes apart.
Nice.
So that just helped out huge, and just mom and pop, they wanna know you, you know?
Yeah.
They wanna feel like they know you and trust you, and which they should.
Yeah.
So you
The
you should.
tenants turn into their like, almost not they're quite their friends, but, like,
Yeah,
they care about the tenants that they're
yeah,
handing it off to as well.
yeah, they wanna know. I've had a lot of mom and pops ask that. "What's
Yeah.
your intention with the community?" And things like that.
We have
And
some, grandfathered leases because,
yeah, yeah,
the seller, he's like, "Can you just please just keep this guy at this rent for
yeah,
this long?" We're like, "Okay."
yeah. I remember we bought that first community, in Kernersville, and, we met the seller, and literally we're sitting in his kitchen, and he's got a notepad, and he's basically writing out the rent roll right there in front of us. He's
Yeah.
got all these people's names in his head, and he's writing all these names down. But yeah, if you can, create that bond with the seller, you got a pretty good chance.
Yeah. We had this one guy just recently, their underwriting, how they collect rent, it was they walk into a park and they come out with $200,000, but they do it
Oh,
every couple months. They don't do it monthly, but they charge
yeah.
monthly rent, but then they're like, "Hey, every 3 months I walk in and I come back and I have $200,000." And you're like,
Mm, yeah,
"That is a mess."
yeah. I mean, the first park I bought, he didn't collect that much, which it was a small park, but he was, going door to door collecting cash.
Yeah.
That's how when I bought that park, that's how I did it because I didn't know any better.
Yeah, you listen to the guy
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. That was our a lot of our issues at the beginning, we just followed the park manager that ran the park on how they
yeah,
manage it, and you're like, "Well, maybe if we need to change it up a little bit to make it better,"
yeah,
you know?
yeah. But yeah,
So,
when I joined Chris with Six Rock, he had all of this was in place. He was professional, and all these basically there was a person in every seat.
yeah,
We use Rent Manager, Water Scope, and all this stuff, and it just runs
beautiful.
really. Yeah,
Is Chris out of, California?
he's in Charlotte.
Oh,
North
okay.
Carolina. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so, what would you say your day-to-day is today?
Uh, very easy
Yeah,
on my side, just because there's all of people are in place,
yeah,
and it's. I mean, I wouldn't say easy, but
yeah,
just daily operations. It's the team handles which I'm very grateful for. But so my side of the business is just trying to find the next deal, and so
yeah.
I spend the majority of my time just looking at you know communities and cold calling and that side of the business.
And would you consider yourself financially independent now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm full time. I do this full
Cool.
time. Yeah.
Awesome. So, yeah, it doesn't feel financially independent when you become financially independent is what I've
Mm,
learned.
Yeah, you're
Your
basically
expenses are covered, but you're working every day, so
yeah. There's uncertainty.
yeah,
I mean,
always. I can relate. So
it-
so with the, yeah, like, I guess we could talk about that a little bit. So what would you say, like, the thing that feels like uncertain? Like, I was listening to Ryan Norris, he did his last podcast, it was really good, about
yeah,
this. It was like the 5 or 6 levels of financial freedom or something, and I thought it would
yeah,
be like a very generic, like, whatever, but he's talking about it as a mobile home syndicator. And
yeah,
you and I are about the same place. It's like, you would think that 500 to 600 units would be enough to live on, and there's still the, desire to be more secured, and
yeah,
that's what he was talking about.
yeah. I mean, I know Ryan. He's a very genuine person.
Yeah, great.
He's helped me out a whole lot. Um, but yeah, it's true. Those stages, because when I hit that first stage of kind of leaving your job, and after a while, you're like, well, now what?
Yeah.
This is what everybody's just dying to have. Is this? Is kind of
Yeah.
it's not disappointing. I won't say that. It's
Not
just
disappointing.
no.
Fulfilling
It's
to an extent.
yeah. It's just different than what you're expecting. You got to have a reason to be doing this other than just money.
Yeah.
You got to have somewhere you're striving to go other than just kicked back, having margaritas on the beach. It's
Yeah.
not fulfilling like you think it would be. You know?
Yeah. I'm definitely not a sit back and relax type guy. You give me one day by myself or sitting back, and I get a little crazy after that.
Yeah. I even sometimes and like when I first left my job,
Yeah.
it's hard to explain, but it's like I had these feelings of guilt. Like
Yeah.
I should be doing something. It's like now I've got this time. I feel guilty that I'm not, contributing more, or it's just hard to explain. But
Yeah. Well, what will happen for me is that I'll be with friends that are talking about work and stuff like that, and then I'll kind of complain, and I realize that I just need to be quiet. Like it
yeah,
doesn't like they're looking at me like you're you walked 20,000 steps today, and you're complaining about you working too hard.
yeah, it's just I don't know, but I mean, you deserve it. I mean, once
Yeah.
you get there, you deserve it for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just trying to maintain like a schedule,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. If you're not really a self-motivated type of person,
Yeah.
it's which you probably wouldn't get to this position if you're not, but you
I
just
was
gotta constantly strive to build that.
Hey guys, if you want to learn more about our deals we're investing in, go to our website and sign up for our free ebook, 10 Reasons Mobile Home Parks Outperform Other Real Estate Investments. We won't spam you. We'll just keep you updated on the podcast and the deals we're working on. Now, back to the show. I'd say like kind of like this past year for me is we've been trying to like make everything systemized. It sounds
Yeah.
like your operation, since even though it's 500, it's part of 2000.
Yeah.
It's kind of put into the system, and that's kind of
Yeah.
where we're trying to go. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like what you're saying. Like for me, it's like a lot of things rely on me, so I stay busy with talking with operations, property managers. But striving to grow after you have time freedom is, I could see that being a
Yeah.
hurdle in
Yeah.
itself.
Which I mean, now we're looking at another community, fairly close. So
Yeah,
I will be the boots on the ground person at that place. So that's going to be daily. Which I'm going to live there. For the initial takeover, just because
moving in. Oh
it's
wow,
yeah, it's 85 lots and there's 44 occupied. So we're planning to fill the community. So that's a pretty big deal.
is it? Is it when you say 85 lots? Is it occupied with mobile homes, or is it just
No,
vacant pads?
vacant pads. Yeah, majority of those are pretty much ready for a home.
Yeah,
It won't require a lot of site work,
yeah,
but still filling 40 lots is a pretty
yeah,
big deal.
yeah. And then, so when you guys place them, this is something we've always kind of struggled with ourselves. When you guys place them, what do you look for new construction, or do you guys look for more of a used home to place in the spots?
I mean, we've done a little bit of everything, but
Yeah,
we did all new homes in I think it was 2020. I think it was. It
yeah.
might have been.
The market allowed it, right?
Yeah,
People are
yeah.
buying at that point.
I mean, basically, we even like just marketed as in all these houses are available, and some weren't even there yet. They were they were being delivered, but we had people, wanting these homes.
Yeah. It was a tough market because even then, like now you can get mobile homes pretty easily. Before
Yeah,
it was like there was no supply.
yeah. We were on a waiting list. They
Yeah.
would see a few at a time, but not many, and we had people waiting, to buy these brand new homes.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't
we
hurt.
haven't. Yeah, I haven't done it in a few years, so that part I don't know. But
Yeah.
in Graham, North Carolina, we had a like a rock star Lonnie dealer that brought in 30 something homes within a few months. Those were all used homes,
Yeah.
but that was his thing. He was just that's what he did all day long. He looked for all these used homes, and he did a great job.
We just got access to, because we have a couple RV parks. So
Yeah.
we just got access to about 30 uh, RVs for park models for free.
Oh,
And there's a little bit of damage through storms and stuff, but it was like the cost to move them there was 6,500, and they set them up and everything. So to us, it was like we spend between 10 and 12,000, sell them for 10 to 12,000, and then get between like 650 lot rent is what we would end up getting. So it's like
yeah.
these spots that aren't having any income are now getting 650, and you pretty much cover the cost by the sale.
Yeah. Which means you're in Florida, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, see, we're like the markets we're in, it's, in the upper 400 range
Yeah.
for lot rent,
Yeah, it took
which
us a little time to get around to that price. The mentally, like how
yeah,
you think like we're running off of mom and pop pricing. So then it
yeah,
turned into, is it really $500 a month, or is it, certain markets we were in, we were fixated that it was $500 a month, and turned into, between 650 to 850, depending on
yeah.
the market. There's one we have in the middle of Tampa, like strong, very like this mobile home park should not be there, and we're getting about
Yeah.
900,
Oh,
900 lot
yeah,
rent.
yeah. Which if I'm not mistaken, I think Florida is the highest growth state, the
Yeah, I think
fastest
it.
growing as far as migration.
I think that's very cyclical though. Is
Yeah,
like because
probably.
kind of with these people going, the remote workers moving here. Now
Yeah,
they're calling them back into the office.
yeah,
So I think that's taken a little bit of pressure off the housing. But at the
yeah,
same time, I mean, most people are staying here. And yeah, it's I would say the rent growth has declined a little bit. It's not like
right,
before you could put the all-in price would be about 1,300 a month rent for a mobile home, rent to own payment, lot rent, and rent to own payment. And now we're getting about 11 to 1,200. Like, but we could get 1,300 like off the shelf, like it'd be gone.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think I'm trying to. I think it was Andrew Keel said that he watches the is a U-Haul or something like that. They
yeah,
track
yeah,
the
yeah,
one-way moves. I think
yeah,
Florida was like number one. Then it was the Carolinas and
yeah.
Tennessee. Yeah,
Have a few friends out there in North Carolina from my old previous job, but their market when I first started at American Homes for Rent, it was $1,000 a month, like 1,000 to 1,100 would get you a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And
yeah,
by the time I left, it was like 17, 1,800 a month in that
yeah,
area, which it was
yeah,
like insane. So I would probably argue that the rental growth was probably more in North Carolina than it was in Tampa,
yeah,
even though, or Florida, just because of
yeah,
it's just, yeah, it's just, I think what they call them is not boomerangs, but when people move from North Carolina, they move to Florida, they realize how hot it is, and then they go to North Carolina. So they
yeah,
go halfway back.
yeah. I mean, we do well there. We love it
Yeah,
there. But
great. So what's in the plans? Like what would you say your goal is for the next year, and for 5 years?
it's tough to say. I know you're supposed to have a goal.
Yeah,
Everybody tells me you're
that's
supposed to have
okay.
a goal, but it's I just think that the next 5 years is basically your major window of opportunity.
Yeah,
I think after 5 years, it's just there's going to be so many communities that have traded
yeah,
that what's going to be left, in my opinion, is going to be people that are in the industry and have the capability to basically buy smaller portfolios.
yeah,
You could probably do that. You're buying 3 or 4 communities at a time.
yeah,
But I think that most mom and pops are going to sell between now and 5 years. So I'm just trying to come up with like a daily system where these are the items that I do each day for the next 5 years, and then I'll reassess. But I don't know that I have like a exact like lot number
yeah,
that I'm aiming for. I don't know, but
yeah. That's good. I think, yeah, I'm the kind of the same way. I think I used to have like a lot number idea, but
yeah,
it's turned into more of an income
yeah,
process,
yeah,
And What I would say about the mom and pop is, I agree. And sometimes it's like, we'll look at the prices we're paying today and think about how we negotiated our way out of deals and that we wish we would have
Yeah.
bought them for the price that we bought them at. But at the same time, it's hard to figure that out. Like,
No.
was 30,000 too low or 50,000 or whatever the number is per pad? And it could be that, that we're wishing that we bought them at that, the $60,000-$70,000 price today,
Yeah. I've definitely passed on some deals that I look back and wish I wouldn't have, and but
Yeah. Yeah, I called this one. Well, this is what happened. We had one in Lake Wales, and we had it under contract and backed out of it. And because I went out there and I was like, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where what is out here, where the jobs are or anything. And the problem is that we went the back roads there. And I think if you went, there's another county road to the other direction, and it's got all the retail there. And we found that out, and I did some underwriting. And I realized I was like, "Oh, we should buy that." So then we went back and it was already under contract. Now it's like they're trying to sell it for double the price, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, it hurts. And it's like, is double the price a good price? I don't know, but I know what they paid for it, so it's hard to go back on that.
Yeah. That's the other thing I would say. If you're looking at certain markets, maybe you should drive over there. Maybe you should go look around and see what it looks like instead of just using too much technology or
Yeah,
data on the internet. And go see what you feel about it.
yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, so John, where can people find you?
You can send me an email at jevans@sixrockprop.com, or I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff.
Pretty active there. Found you there. I've seen you
Yeah.
make a lot of comments in there. So yeah, through Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Millionaire Journey podcast. Please rate, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share with somebody you think would enjoy listening.